बरोबर आहे ना व्यू?
इधर ना बघू तू, या कॅमेरा है
मी या कॅमेऱ्यात बघू. ठीक आहे. सिग्नल करा हा मला सुरू सांगायचं. Good morning, all participants. Welcome to Sustainable Lifestyle Global Network. We are today here to speak about very informally about the changes in our lifestyle, how sustainable we can become when we also can take care of the environment. Now, today I am representing Jeevit Nadi. We work for reviving the rivers in our urban areas, and sustainability is an integral part of the river. As you all are aware that nature actually does not need us. We need the nature, and if we need the nature, that simply means we also need to take care that because of us nothing happens with the nature. So here I am going to be talking few tips. Shubha is with me. She is also one of very core member of Jeevit Nadi. We are working on revival of the rivers. So first, let me tell you how my journey started. Now, few members, about 20-22 members came together because one of our very close colleague, Niranjan, invited us for his son's birthday, first year's birthday. And that became a triggering factor for all of us because he raised a question for looking at the status of our rivers. Now, after getting through the ecological society's natural resource management course, you actually become, restless souls. तुम्हारी आत्मा तुम्हें बहुत कराने लगती है. वो पूछती रहती है क्या कर रहे हो, तुमने नॉलेज लिया और उसके बारे में कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो. तो उस वजह से जब हम लोग इकट्ठा हुए तो सोचने लगे कि अगर कुछ करना है तो किस बारे में करना है. एंड दैट्स हाउ वी स्टार्टेड वर्किंग ऑन द रिवर्स, बिकॉज इन पुणे वेयर वी आर लोकेटेड, वी आर ऑल्सो सराउंडेड बाय हिल्स, western ghats, mountains. So there are many groups, working on saving Sahyadri, then saving hills, making them greening, but there was hardly any organization working on the rivers. And we decided, let's take the challenge. We being ecological society's alumni, why can't we take the challenge? And we started working with different experts. We didn't know how to start because we all know हमारी गांव की, हमारी शहर की नदियां जब हम लोग देखते हैं तो पता नहीं चलता है कि कैसे शुरू करूं, कहां से शुरू करूं. ये तो इतना ओवरवेलमिंग हो जाता है कि मैं अकेली या मैं अकेला कुछ भी नहीं कर सकता हूं. तो ये सोच के जब एक्सपर्ट से बात करनी शुरू हुई तो पता चला कि देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ पोल्यूशन इन द रिवर्स, वी ऑल नो. एंड they said that there are a few things which you can start working on it. So we started creating different programs, and this is how the journey started. Now we are in about 7th years of this program, which we are taking ahead along with the people, because no revival of the rivers can happen without participation of the people, the local people. So I want to talk to Shubha also, who is a very great close colleague of mine, and also she's been working on the river. So Shubha, how did you got connected with us? Could you just share your experiences?
Okay, actually, the connection starts again with Ecological Society because I was again somewhat lost, in my career as to what to do, and I was looking at courses to find some direction. And I met Shailaja Tai there in the Ecological Society office. She was working on some other project, and just talking to her, I mean, I had already decided to do the course, but it almost, cemented the decision to go ahead and do the course. And like Tai said, though the course is supposed to bring in clarity, it puts you in a stage where you end up getting all messed up. And I think that's a good mess up, because it then helps you change your direction. Because unless you start questioning, you do not do anything different. And that's exactly what the course did. And before that, I was actually doing a business. I was home delivering organic and natural produce, and Tai was also one of my customers. So I used to meet her almost every day, and she used to tell me about what's happening in Jivit Nadi. And I started getting attracted, because somewhere it was something where the thoughts and the action could be together. So slowly and surely, I started, getting associated with Jivit Nadi. I did the toxin-free lifestyle, which is session, which is TFL session, which is called. And I did it, which basically talks about all the different toxins that you're surrounded with, which you cannot see or cannot, feel. And until then, since I was working with the natural vegetables, I was aware with all the kind of chemicals and pesticides that go into your system through vegetables. And that's something that, you can talk about. But here I was exposed to things which if a normal person was told that you are surrounded by chemicals in your house, you would not believe it, because you cannot see it, you cannot feel it, you cannot smell it. So it was a total, kind of eye opener to me. And I did that session not once, I did it around 2 or 3 times, and I did it with different audiences for it to start seeping in that, I need to make some change. And again, the change was very difficult. The first thing I moved was from toothpaste to Dantamanjar. But again, frankly, I was not very confident. I used to always carry a lavang in my purse, thinking that probably, I have a bad breath and I'll have to put it, because I was not sure that the Dantmanjan was doing a right job. And as I started going, I started realizing that most of the things we use is not for ourselves. Okay, it is for something that we want to portray to others. So a house that is, shining and spick and span is so that someone who comes in envies our house. The shampoo that or the conditioner that I use is so that the fragrance is nice, and my hair looks nice, and someone else will comment on it once I walk. Or the perfume that I use, and when I walk through, someone says, wow, she smelled good. So it was more of what others feel rather than what I really wanted to do. So that was a big change. And I think whoever gets into this, that is the first thing that you have to fight. It's a very personal journey, and it took a long time.
Yes.
And how I started getting associated is we adopted a stretch, because Jivit Nadi had started a campaign called Adopt a Stretch. So we adopted a stretch near my house, and that was 2017, August 15th, almost exactly 4 years back. And frankly, that is like, a karma bhumi, where it's like my second home. And it's or whatever you want to call it, but it's evolved me as a person, and it's a sheer learning experience, just spending whatever time you can with nature. And I had no idea, I didn't know which river was passing that that stretch was passing through. I didn't know there was a confluence. I didn't know what a confluence is basically. So it has been a sheer learning experience. And once we started doing work there, Tai kept telling me that we should come up with a nature walk. Now nature walk, she kept talking about it, that this is a concept, but she expected me to do it, but I was not getting the energy. And as I said, it was probably because I was not into it. I was not still using those, because in the stretch we have a sewage treatment plant of Baner, which releases the treated water, which is as bad as untreated water, because you see froth coming out of there, mixing into the Ram Nadi, which is a river in Pune. So when we go to that spot, we have to talk about the toxin-free living. And I was not able to do it. I mean, I was writing the script, but it was not convincing enough. And I somehow realized that unless you start doing it, you're not able to spread awareness. So then the journey started. From Dantamanjan, it started the body wash, then Rita, then baking soda, vinegar, all things. I mean, at the time, we didn't have all these products. Now, today, the market has a lot of products which is readily buyable, but then back then we didn't have it. So it was a mix and match. Then there was another fight with, you want to do it, but your family is not ready to do it. So that's the other thing. Still, my daughter does not use Dantamanjan. She uses a little bit of paste, but it's still, she knows me and my husband use it, but she doesn't use it. So it's a whole big journey, and it's been a beautiful journey. And I think when you know the whys of why you need to do it and how it is going to affect, then whatever others say and whatever other feels, doesn't matter. You still, continue to do it. And once you start doing it, you get the energy to, keep talking about it and spreading the word that this is the right thing to do. Yeah.
Excellent. That's what Shubha's experience, and that's what she actually has spoken about the sustainability. And sustainability doesn't come overnight. It is always a slow process. The change always happens slowly. She started getting convinced because she was seeing that sewage treatment plant leaving that water. And what is getting into that water, she realized it. And now let me tell you what exactly happens when we use right from the morning toothpaste, then maybe our bath soap, then shampoo or conditioner, and there is vessel cleaner, utensil cleaner, or the soap or detergent which we use for washing the clothes. What exactly is happening for that is something which we need to know. And this is the same froth which we release from our rivers, which gets into the river, which creates this froth which is coming from the domestic area. Now, if you consider Pune, city like a Pune, there is not a huge industrial area around where obviously the people start saying that it's an industrial pollution because, we have a habit of always pointing towards someone else rather than thinking that we are the culprits or we are the ones who are the reason behind this. And Pune being a domestic area, so much froth coming into the rivers and the increase or the growth of the water has seen where the surface water also is not seen. When we started talking with the experts, we realized that what amount of chemicals are released or the amount of pollutants which get released from the use of daily use of all those toxic products which we use, starting from our toothpaste till we end with our mosquito coils or whatever good night or whatever you are using as a personal product. And the amount of chemicals which get released per person was the research done under the able senior scientist Dr. Pramod Moghe at National Chemical Laboratory, where they found out that every person uses, no matter what, which area he stays in or which class he belongs to, minimum toothpaste, minimum amount of soap, minimum amount of utensil cleaner and soap counts to about 30 to 40 grams of pollutants which get released into the water. And believe me, no sewage treatment plant can treat these chemicals. Now, toothpaste, if you count it, one toothpaste can have more than 5 to 10 amount of chemicals. Similarly, if you think about the detergent, because there is a fragrance, there is a surfactant, there is some other chemicals, bleaching powder, many things. So ultimately, when it gets mixed up into the water, we all know water is a universal solvent. So whatever you put in, it's going to get dissolved into the water. So it becomes a concoction of chemicals, and even a Nobel Prize winner, believe me, won't be able to separate them. It's so difficult. So the best way, if we are looking at reviving our the rivers, stop them at the source. And what is that source? It's our own homes, the way we are behaving ourselves. And mind you, the way the illnesses are growing, the way the cancers are growing. I remember my old days when cancer used to be, oh my God, किसी के घर में cancer होता था, तो the whole village or the whole locality used to be, worried about it. तो अभी तो हर घर में हो रहा है, हर घर में infertility issues हो रहे हैं, और हम लोग सोच नहीं रहे कि what are the reasons behind all these things. And once you understand that these are the reasons, then there is a way to start having some sort of alternative changes into your lifestyle. And as I said, the change is always a slow. And we came to know that white vinegar, which we use for cooking, virtually can clean our homes. The same vinegar which you get into any grocery shop, this white vinegar, if I put it into a spray bottle, mop my tabletops, mop my counters, everything is possible with this. If I add baking soda to it, which is absolutely which you use for confectionery items. So this can clean my toilet well. Then there could be a mosquito repellent where I can put some essential oil. All these things actually we take orientation sessions on how to do it by yourself. There are various options for everyone, all of you. Like you can make all by yourself, by do it by yourself, or there are such products available into the market which are absolutely harmless. We
So,
just have to remember whatever is harmful to us is harmful to rivers. Whatever is harmful to rivers is harmful to us. So, Shubha, could you just show some of these? Now, these products do
so
not have any chemicals which I spoke to you about, or which the slide which you seen earlier. All these toxic chemicals do not
are not there here.
yeah, are not, they do not
Present.
contain here. It's basically the base is vinegar or the soap nuts which you actually get it from the trees.
Or Rita, called
Or
Rita.
Rita, you can call it as Rita. So these are the soap nuts. You can very well create your own washing soap out of these. I keep using, I also use dried orange peels when I'm making my own soap, which gives me natural fragrance. So as I said, you can have a combos, you can have some material which is ready to use material which is toxic free. I mean, end of this session, if you become conscious buyers, I would be very happy. If you start looking at the ingredients on the materials which you purchase, you can be a conscious buyer. And if you don't have time, if you have time and if you have the will, there is always DIY types which you can do. So these are few of the hints which I do, particularly when you go through the corona type uh, mm, events or the pandemics which you go. I always carry vinegar in my purse. This is my pouch. If you have vinegar, put in this, sniff it 3 to 4 times a day. Actually, vinegar will also act like an antibacterial thing into your nose. Or you can also have eucalyptus oil, which हमारी दादियाँ नानियाँ भी हम लोगों को बताती थी. अरे सर्दी खांसी हुई, थोड़ा सा हैंकरचीफ के ऊपर यूकेलिप्टस ऑयल डालो, स्निफ करो, हो जाता है. ये सारी चीजें हम लोग दादी माँ का बटुआ भूल गए हैं. But I think there is a time to revive all these things and start working towards it. We always have to remember whatever is good for us is always good for the nature also. So be sustainable. Shubha, you want to add something to it?
Yeah, I think just I would also like to add the whole cycle, since I have also worked with natural and organic produce. It's not that everything stops with, like when we are at the stretch and we clean the stretch, everything is comes to the river. I mean, even after the last rites, there are people who just, put everything from the person who's dead into the river. And probably, that's something of a faith that everything gets cleansed once it goes into the river. It's okay if it is a natural product, and we have gone past that stage where the river can handle anything anymore. And what's also happening is the same water from the river is going back into our fields, and it is going into the crops. So even if there is a natural farmer who is trying to grow stuff naturally, there are things which is there in the system which he cannot control. The water that he's putting to the plants, if it is, it is affected, polluted, it's going to come into the plant. So what I'm trying to say is this whole system that we have created, man-made system, is so interconnected that anything that you do has an effect, has a multiple and ripple kind of an effect.
Yeah.
So all that we can do, instead of stop blaming and saying it's the government who has to do, or the society has to do, or whatever it is, instead of thinking of it that way, Let us start doing it from our home. That is the first step. And I'm telling you, I mean, when we started, it was all like, what can I do? And like Tai said, it's 0.4 grams or 40 grams or 30 grams. We feel that it is very insignificant. But imagine the n number of products that you're using. Today I'm in my 40s. I don't remember when my mother was in her 40s, she would have used any kind of, even not even today, but the kind of chemicals we are exposed to today. So the kids are growing up with these chemicals, and whether you like it or not, they are getting exposed to it on an everyday basis. And today again with the corona, it's like sanitizers everywhere. You are bombarded with that, whole.
Absolutely.
Want to add something on that?
Yes. For corona, actually, there is no need to use so many sanitizers. Means there are few things which you can do. As I said, that eucalyptus oil, you can put it on the handkerchief. Another thing is, if you carry some same amount of ajwain and soap, put it in a container and put it in your mouth. That will actually create your antibacterials. It will strengthen your throat. And instead of sanitizer, before getting out of your homes, you just wash your hands cleanly with your normal soap, preferably the natural and biodegradable non-toxic soap which is there. Either you do it by yourself or you get it from such places or such shops where you get them. Part of it, which is obviously the sustainable local group, which is already giving lot of alternatives about this. Another way, after washing, just put this cream, which is calendula. This is a homeopathic cream. If you just put it on your hands, the effect remains on your hands for more than 4 to 5 hours. So by the time you finish your works, come back home, you're ready to again wash your hands with normal soap and water. There is no need, absolutely no need for the sanitizers to use. They contain 60 to 70% of alcohol. That is minimum. Some sanitizers also have 80, 85, 90% alcohol also. And this actually, once it enters the waters, it is very, very harmful for the aquatic life into the water. And imagine this year, actually, we experienced this summer. Every year we get water hyacinth, but this year the proliferation of water hyacinth was humongous. Since we started working on the rivers, इतना वाटर हाइसिंथ हम लोगों ने आज तक नदियों में कहीं भी नहीं देखा था. कहां से आया था? लॉकडाउन में अगर इंडस्ट्रीज बंद थी, अगर एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर बंद था, पर क्या क्या चालू था? हॉस्पिटल्स और हमारे घर में every now and then use of sanitizers, and we don't know how many type of and number of soaps we were using like crazy, which was not required at all. तो ये सब चीजें मेरे ख्याल से ध्यान में रखना जरूरी है. And if there are any questions, we should be addressing those questions. If there are anything in the chat box, if we will be ready to understand that, क्योंकि ज्यादा समझना जरूरी है rather than we keep talking about it. कहां से भी तो शुरुआत करनी है, अपने से शुरू करो. और मैं तो बोलूंगी फ्लोर क्लीनर और टॉयलेट क्लीनर से क्यों नहीं चालू करते? Today is the day that I can start with the floor cleaner.
And today there are products available. I mean, you don't have to make anything at home.
Correct.
This is the Turel brand, which has, it has a clothes wash also called Eco Wash. They have toilet cleaners. They have floor cleaners. So all these are readily available. You just have to source it. And it is available at the Sustainable Living Store in Karvinagar or through Mera Farmer. We at Jeevit Nadi also have 3 products, which is the dental, the Dantamanjan herbal.
Can I get that box? I'll just get
the hair wash and hair wash and the body wash. So all these are there. And I think the first step would be to actually start seeing, the products that you buy. You start seeing what does it contain. And if you can make the change, if you can, and go research it. Everything is there on Google, right? So you go and research on your own and see what does it contain, how harmful is it. And you might again, that was another thing that I went through, that I felt it is so small. It's so small of a grammage. Probably my using is not making much of a difference. But as Sai said, in Pune, at least in Pune, the city, 60 to 70% of the pollution is caused through domestic usage and not through industry. So we are, it's in our hands. If we want to see the change, let us wake up and make the change.
तो इसका
So
मतलब
these are-
60 से 70% नदियां साफ हो सकती है हमारे घर में, हम लोग बैठ के भी कर सकते हैं। इसके लिए घर के बाहर जाके कुछ ग्लव्स डाल के नदियों के किनारे जाके सफाई करने की भी जरूरत नहीं है। कोई बूढ़ा है विद कोरोना, देयर आर सो मेनी इन्फेक्शंस, किड्स है, ये सब चीजें होके भी घर से ही, अपने घर से 60 to 70% rivers can be cleaned, which is absolutely doable.
These are the Jeevit Nadi products. This is a body wash. This is a hair wash, and this is a Danta Manjir. We are open to any questions.
If there are any questions, can we look into the chat box if there are there? I don't see any questions over there.
Where can I buy these products?
Mera Farmer and Sustainable Store. Could we put that Mera Farmer's information and the Sustainable Store's information there? कितना बड़ा है, कितना सीरियसली इसे लेना चाहिए। रिवर पोल्यूशन का प्रॉब्लम बहुत बड़ा है। अगर मैं पूना की बात करूं तो जैसे मैंने बोला, डोमेस्टिक पोल्यूशन से 40 ग्राम, अगर 50 लाख का पॉपुलेशन हमारा पूना का है तो 2 लाख किलो केजी टॉक्सिक पोल्यूटेंट्स अपने नदी में रोज रोज सिर्फ डोमेस्टिक सेक्टर से जा रहे हैं। इसमें मैं काउंट नहीं कर रही हूँ हॉस्पिटल इंडस्ट्री से कितना जाता है, जो कॉर्पोरेट ऑफिसेस है वहां से, क्योंकि वहां पे भी 3-3, 4-4 बार हाउसकीपिंग की वजह से फ्लोर और टॉयलेट क्लीन किए जाते हैं। अभी तो वर्किंग फ्रॉम होम चालू हो गया है, तो भी फिर भी अगर ये सब कैलकुलेशन करे तो पता नहीं कितनी अमाउंट का पोल्यूशन जा रहा है। सो मेरे ख्याल से ये पोल्यूशन बहुत 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 ज्यादा है और हम लोगों ने ही इसके ऊपर एज अ पर्सनल, माई रिवर माई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, माई वाटर रिसोर्स माई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, ये करके हम लोग जब तक तय नहीं करते हैं तब तक अगली पीढ़ी को हम लोग ये नदियां अच्छी तरह से दे नहीं पाएंगे। तो ये हमारी बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है।
And I think if we go, look like a parallels, if we say that in the early 1900s, everyone fought for freedom, right? And someone like Gandhi ji came up with a very simple solution कि आप घर पे बैठ के चरखा चलाओ, उससे आपको आजादी मिलेगी. So very similar, if we take the parallels, today's problem of any problem you can think of is related to the environment. So be it, global warming, climate change, or corona, or anything is related to the environment. So what you and I can do is घर पे बैठ के at least start using products which have no chemicals. इतना अगर हम कर पाएंगे, एक step. I mean, I'm not looking at all of us doing something great, but that one little step, if this whole big tire of people who have no direct connect with the water, with the rivers, but still if we do this, I think there will be a phenomenal change.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I totally agree. Are there any other questions?
What can we do together?
We can start having orientation session for people to understand first कि हम लोग क्या क्या प्रकार के टॉक्सिक पोल्यूटेंट्स यूज करते हैं और इसको रुकाने के लिए ऑल्टरनेटिव्स क्या है। थोड़ा एक बिगिनर्स गाइड जैसे हम लोग अगर चालू कर सकते हैं तो कलेक्टिवली द प्रोडक्ट्स विच आर देयर ऑल्टरनेटिव, क्योंकि हम लोगों को पता है आज के जमाने में DIY टाइप हर एक कोई कर नहीं पाएगा। शायद मैं कर पाती हूँ तो सारी चीजें भी नहीं कर पाती हूँ, कुछ चीजें मेरे को परचेज भी करनी पड़ती है क्योंकि आई डोंट हैव ऑल दैट टाइम, आई अंडरस्टैंड। तो मगर ये शुरुआत कहाँ से करे, कैसे करे, हाउ टू स्टार्ट विथ, ये ओरिएंटेशन भी होना जरूरी है कि कौन सी चीजों से पोल्यूटेंट जा रहे, नदी में जा रहे हैं, हवा में जा रहे, हमारे बच्चों के शरीर में जा रहे, हमारे घर के बूढ़े लोगों को किस तरह से अफेक्ट करे, ये सब पता होना भी बहुत जरूरी है। तो हम लोग ओरिएंटेशन सेशन एज एन जीवित नदी वी कैन ऑफर दोज ओरिएंटेशन सेशंस। अगर किसी को भी ये हो तो कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं। शुभा का नंबर या मृणाल का नंबर उसमें होगा, यू कैन कांटेक्ट, यस इट्स ऑन द वेबसाइट ऑल्सो, तो वो कर सकते हैं। और प्रोडक्ट के लिए तो अभी आपको चैट बॉक्स में डिटेल्स मिले ही है।
And website, our website also has, if you want to make it at in your house, we have the ways and
yes, there are
instructions of how
recipes.
to do it. Yeah.
www.jeevitnadi.org, इसके ऊपर टॉक्सिन फ्री लाइफस्टाइल का एक पेज है, उसके ऊपर पूरे रेसिपीज भी हम लोगों ने रखे हुए हैं जिसमें आप भी बना सकते हो।
And we have different means of also spreading awareness. We have a street play, we have a theater play. So if you want, we can come and perform somewhere in front of your group. So basically, the first step is also to know that what you're doing is wrong. So we also do that in terms of awareness. And then the next is the actual toxic living sessions where we talk about it in detail. But first, overall, if you want to know whether just an ignorant urban consumer wanting to know what he is doing wrong, we also have such means. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. On behalf of Jeevit Nadi, I again thank you all and the sustainable global lifestyle and sustainable solutions. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.